Alright everybody, how we doing today? So, from Reuters we have Amnesty says Turkey deporting Syrians to planned safe zone region. About damn time. This is reporting from Istanbul, and it says Turkey is forcibly sending Syrian refugees to an area of Syria near the border, where it aims to set up a safe zone, even though the conflict there has not ended. Amnesty International said a report published on Friday. Well, if the conflict hasn't ended, they either better give up on it, or set up or reinforce the safe zone through military strength. But then again, could they really afford to divide their forces in such a manner? I don't think they can. I mean, this sounds crazy to me, but hey. Human Rights Watch said in a separate report Friday that authorities had arbitrarily detained and deported dozens of Syrians to northern Syria between January and September. Turkey currently hosts some 3.6 million refugees who fled Syria's 8-year-long civil war. But with Turkish public sentiment towards them souring, Ankara hopes to resettle up to 2 million in the planned safe zone in northeast Syria. Ankara says more than 350,000 Syrian refugees have already voluntarily returned to their country. In its report, Amnesty said refugees it had spoken to complained of being threatened or physically forced by Turkish police to sign documents saying that they were voluntarily returning to Syria. Uh-oh! Turkey told a lie. They were talking about this safe zone nonsense for some time now. And admittedly, when I said finally, what I meant was we're finally going to see what these people were up to. What they really wanted. What their real agenda was. Which was no longer willing to shoulder the burden of Syrian refugees and forcibly returning them to where they came from, no matter how hellish it may be. No sympathy for these people whatsoever, huh? You're just going to push them out without considering what it's going to result in. It's going to result in hell. That's what it'll result in. And to those of you who may call me a hypocrite, I never said that we should do the same thing with South American refugees. Should they be returned? Yes, eventually. But not the hell yet. You can't return refugees until the place they ran away from is no longer trying to hurt or oppress them. That's the simple ethical matter. That's how it works. Get with the program. Or else be like Turkey. In reality, Turkey put the lives of Syrian refugees under serious danger by forcing them to return to a war zone, the British-based human rights group said. Amnesty said it believed the number of forced returns in recent months to be in the hundreds, based on interviews it conducted between July and October, but said it was able to confirm 20 cases. Syrians who are deported are generally told they are not registered or live outside the Turkish province in which they are registered, the report said, adding that people were also deported from provinces in which they had been registered. Anna Shee, Amnesty's researcher on refugee and migrant rights, said Turkey deserved recognition for hosting so many Syrians over many years. But it cannot use this generosity as an excuse to flout international and domestic law by deporting people to an active conflict zone. False and imaginary. The Turkish Foreign Ministry said later on Friday that Turkey was fulfilling all of its responsibilities toward the refugees in accordance with international laws. The claims in the report about Syrians being forcibly sent back, threatened, and mistreated are false and imaginary, said Hami Aksoy, the Foreign Ministry spokesman. Our country is reiterating at every opportunity that the return of migrants needs to be done voluntarily and safely, and that this process must be carried out in line with international laws, Aksoy said in a statement. A plan agreed between Turkey and Russia this week envisages Syrian Kurdish YPG fighters being removed from a 30-kilometer strip of territory along the Turkish border, and refugees being allowed to return there in a safe and voluntary manner. Addressing world leaders at the United Nations in September, President Tayyip Erdogan set out ambitious proposals to build dozens of new villages and towns in the planned safe zone. Pro-government newspaper Yeni Shafak said on Friday that life would normalize in the Syrian border towns of Tel Abyad and Ras El Ain now that Turkey has taken control of the area. It said Turkey would reconstruct the two towns ravaged by years of war, establish security forces and a judiciary there, and work to bring economic stability to the region. All well and good. They're not just, at least they're not just dumping these people. But the fact that they want to set up a safe zone in an active combat area, I think is absolutely fucking nuts. The way I see it is, it's not necessarily absolute cruelty. I think they're just they're not being sufficiently patient. They're not willing to wait for fighting to stop. They just want to get rid of the Syrians as soon as possible, without totally dumping them off in an area, wherever. And many of these people are they're literally saying that they're being forced to sign these agreements under coercion that they claim to be consenting, but they're not really consenting. They're just made to look like they're consenting. Go figure. This is a classic authoritarian tactic. Make an involuntary action look like a voluntary action. It's classic. The Nazis did it too, and they pushed Jews off into their little ghettos and whatnot. It's the same deal. Anyway, to finish this off, Axel said the international community need to be more active in facilitating the safe return of refugees to the zone. While the concept of a safe zone where they can be safely put to live and be safe and have a booming economy, fundamentally speaking, that is a good idea. But not in an active combat zone. You people are nuts, and I think you're being lazy. You just want to get rid of the Syrians as fast as possible so they no longer live inside Turkey. And you don't care what the consequences are. You just found a nice, quick, lazy way that was barely within the laws and rules established for human rights. As I obsess over my hair. This is about the laziest solution I've ever seen. You never want to do the things the long way or the hard way. You just want to do it the easy and quick way, regardless of what happens. And damn the consequences, sir. Damn the consequences. I'm pretty sure there's another politician who is like that, who likes the fast, lazy solution to everything. I think his name started with a D, and his last name ended with a P. Oh, right. The Donald Trump. He does that too. Go figure. All these politicians are lazy, man. They're lazy fucking losers. Go figure. Anyway, peace.